Welcome back to the Accelerate podcast. We're here today at Chiang Mai, Thailand. I'm here with my friend Spencer, a co-agency owner. He's also running cold email marketing agency. So we're gonna be asking him about questions, cold email related. But first of all, Spencer, thank you for hopping on the podcast, brother.
What's up, man?
Nice to meet you here. I wanted to give context to the audience first. Could you tell us a little bit more about your background? What are you currently doing? Things like that.
Yeah. So I've been in the online space for a few years, sort of like jumped around drop shipping, a bit of freelancing in the e-com space as well. And the past 3 years, I've been working in the property development space. So I was like flipping flats in London. But 6 months ago, or coming 7 months ago now, I basically dropped everything and went all into cold email. So very similar to what you're doing. And the reason being was I just wanted to have location freedom and I wanted to have a faster feedback loop. Working in the property market, especially in the UK, you might buy a property and in like 6 months, you want to renovate the property, but you need to put an application to the government. You need to wait for them to say yes, but in that time, you can't do anything to your property. You're still paying interest to the bank and it just wasn't moving fast enough.
Yep.
So I assessed my skills and I was like, what hard skills do I have? I was using cold email to find properties to buy in the UK and landed here. 6 months now, all in, still one-man show, but now scaling to about 16K a month and looking to scale and beyond, build a team of 2 to 3 people.
There we go. So it kind of, cold email kind of presented itself when you were at that stage.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because similar to you from Michael, and we're at an event now with Michael on cold email. It was something that I just used on the side as a way to get leads. And then I guess it presented it as the best opportunity at the time, 6 months ago, 7 months ago, when I needed something that was cash flow positive, had a fast feedback loop, and allowed me to be able to work from anywhere. So it's like a perfect storm, and I just landed into it.
Absolutely. Now, Spencer, I wanted to touch base on two topics real quick, both for like starting agency owners, so like people who are already doing the cold email but wanting to go the agency route, and then also for the business owners who might be watching there and wanting to know more about our process in terms of like cold email. So starting base, 6 months ago or 7 months ago going now, you started an agency, you grew it to like 15K right now. But a question there though, since a lot of changes are happening in the cold email space, if you were to go back to zero again and try to hit, let's say 10K in 90 days, so how would you do it? Would you change your approach? Tell us about it.
So this is someone who's listening who wants to take the same route as me, right?
Correct.
Not as a business owner trying to use cold email.
Correct.
Well, number one, I'd say if you have a US or UK passport, I'd say UpWork is great. Purely because there's just a perception, it's not necessarily true, but the perception of having a Western passport allows you to charge more compared to, let's say, if you had a passport that was like Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, that they could definitely provide the same level of services, but from a perceived value, there's just an advantage there on Upwork that allows you to get jobs quicker and maybe charge more. So I'd say if you have that advantage, definitely play on it. And the way that I did it was I was applying to 10 to 15 jobs per day on Upwork every single day. And I was logging on and applying within like 20 minutes of a new job coming out.
Yep.
And that's what really allowed me to push and get conversations with business owners who wanted to use cold email. Now, that's prefaced saying that you already understand cold email, because if you don't understand cold email and you're getting on sales calls, doesn't mean you're going to close them. So depending on where you're starting off, one, educate yourself, be able to have a proper conversation and at least know how to deliver results if you haven't yet. At least know the process, right? And be upfront with them saying like, hey, maybe I'll charge less at the beginning to just show you that I can do it and that you can gain more confidence in yourself and your process in the use of tools. But for me, the biggest lever for me was Upwork. The other things you could do is YouTube, but YouTube is a slow burn. And then with cold email, you need to purchase your own domains, purchase your own accounts. So you have a higher cost associated with it. And what's sort of counterintuitive is like using to get cold email clients is actually the most saturated way of getting it, because everyone who understands cold email is already using cold email to get clients. But if you use other channels to get cold email clients, you're actually going to have less competition there, like Upwork.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a tricky one, but one tip, get on Upwork.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things, even me, I'm learning that right now when I'm attending the event, is one of the untapped methods to get clients was from Upwork. And the common misconception, just like what Spencer said, Upwork is cheap work. Not really. And we got guys right now that are pulling in those numbers, 15K, all from Upwork. So that's another starting tip that we could add with for like the agency owners. And just to add on what you said, they have to remember this is a service-based business. So you got to actually figure out how to deliver the service. Like,
Yeah.
so like, don't even start with an agency if you can't deliver the service. But to double down on my question there, Spencer, so if they go to Upwork, how does it compare to like other channels? For example, let's compare it to doing it for outbound cold email and then versus Upwork. So like, are there difference with like the businesses that are getting on sales calls on Upwork versus cold email? Talk to me about that.
So the buying psychology of trying to get someone to purchase on Upwork is much easier because Upwork works as a marketplace where someone posts a specific problem and they're solution aware. They have a problem getting leads and the solution that they want is cold email. You just come in saying, I provide cold email and I'm the best person that you should pick. If you're reaching out with cold email to try to sign clients, they might not even know that cold email is a channel. They might be problem aware that they want leads, but not solution aware. You have to convince them that cold email is the channel. So you have an extra step removed from trying to get them to purchase. You also have a longer purchasing cycle. With Upwork is, I have a problem, I want it solved now. If you're the best person for it, I'll hire you tomorrow. With cold email, it might be, I don't even know that I want cold email, but if you convince me and show me that you have the case studies and you give me a guarantee, then maybe I'll sign in a month.
Yep.
So 2 different types of businesses. With Upwork, you can only apply to jobs that are already there, right? You can't necessarily choose, okay, I only want to work with enterprise clients. With cold email, I can choose specifically who I send an email to from what company.
Yeah.
So there's pros and cons. If you need speed, it's Upwork. If you want to go for a very specific business because you have case studies in that industry and you want to showcase that, then sure,
Absolutely.
use cold email as well.
And I wanted to double down on that because I would even consider Upwork as a warm lead already, because cold outbound or cold email is literally cold. They don't know you, just approach them, you offered it the product. But with like Upwork, they're already looking for the services that you have, and that
Exactly.
you just gotta sell them and have to close them if you can really solve the problem that they're trying to solve, you know?
Yeah, 100%. It's you're just trying to say that I'm the best person to solve it. There's no more convincing. It's not a pushy sales process. It's just showing them that, hey, you have this problem. Here's how I've solved it before. Here's what you can expect. Here's my pricing. And they're like, hey, I'm ready to move forward.
Absolutely.
The only thing I'll say about Upwork is your results matter a lot on Upwork. If you sign a client on cold email and you don't deliver, but you deliver on all your deliverables, which is, yeah, you did the right job, you did your best, but the results weren't good, and someone tries to open a dispute on Stripe, likely they're not going to get it because in your contract, you already delivered on all the deliverables. Whereas in Upwork, they could open a dispute, sure, they won't get it back, but they can leave you a bad review, which means that if you ruin your Upwork profile and you get many bad reviews, or even just one bad review can really knock it down, that has a big negative effect on all the future clients that you can sign. So for me personally, on Upwork, I have to turn down a lot of business, which means that if I'm not confident I can get results for a specific client in a specific industry, I won't sign them, because the future business that I can sign on Upwork is more important than the revenue that I can have now. So that's one downside of it.
Yeah.
So that means you should also have other channels, like running cold email or having a YouTube channel, which is one thing. That's like my next thing, the next thing that I want to conquer. Just trying to do one thing at a time. So
Yeah.
Upwork's been good, maintain that. But the next thing I'll add is bring another traffic source, which is YouTube.
Absolutely. Now, a question there, because we mentioned earlier for like the aspiring agency owners that are going with like multiple clients with cold email. Would you say, how would you approach their filtering if they're just starting out? Because that's a really good thing that you mentioned, that if you don't perform with like Upwork, it might ruin your reputation,
job,
right?
Yeah.
So how would you even recommend Upwork to them if they don't have any experience with like cold email at first, for like first clients?
First client, honestly, if you don't have the knowledge of cold email yet, or whatever service you're going after, it might not even be cold email, because Upwork, you can get jobs in multiple niches, multiple industries.
Yeah.
One, go and educate yourself. Learn. Like you'll watch any YouTube video and people will say the same thing, but it's actually just so true. Go and educate yourself, actually know how to do it, but then you need to actually implement it. Learning it on YouTube and then doing it for real is very different things, right? You'll know, like you'll launch a campaign and you'll get results that you thought were going to be amazing and then they're crap. or you thought they'd be crap and they're amazing. You learn through experience. So once you sort of understand the building blocks and the theory of like delivering your service, I'd say just get a normal Gmail account, or you buy one domain and one inbox. You're paying like $15 for a domain, $6 or $8 a month for an inbox. Send custom emails out one by one to people offering free work, because that's when you're actually going to learn, by doing it. Offer free work, and then once you get good results, you can use that as a case study, so that when you get to sign your first client on UpWork, you're at least somewhat confident in the service that you're delivering. Because the worst thing would be you sign a client on UpWork and then you get a bad review from the beginning. You're not going to get another client. Also, if you have actually delivered some results, your profile on UpWork, you can actually say, I've delivered X, Y, and Z, and this is why you should trust me to deliver work for you. If you have no social proof, no clients, no confidence in yourself, it's very unlikely you're going to sign a client off UpWork, right? You still need to show that you're the right
legit
person. Yeah, someone might make a job post, they might speak to 5 people.
Yeah.
You still need to be the best out of those 5. It's not just like you just send applications and get signed contracts.
I'm actually a big proponent of what he just said. It is like the offering free work, so that you already know that you can do results for them. And even until now, that's one of my current funnels, is that
you do that, don't you? Yeah.
we always try to see if, hey, is this even for you at the first place? So that's one of the things, that's one of the advantages that Spencer has right now, is you got data, you got the experience already. So even before you even deal with a client, you already know how to approach it and how to deliver it. But speaking of cold email though, let's jump into the other side, which is for the business owners. Now, a lot of people don't think that cold email would be for them. So if they are a business owner for them, how can we tell them that, hey, this cold email might work for you? So what are the qualities that do they need to have? Is it only a service base? What it is?
I would say there's a few elements to it. One is having product market fit. So if you're just starting out, you likely don't have message to market fit. You don't know what angle you're selling your product at, right? What pain points do your customers actually care about? But if you have lots of customers and you've been running your business for a while, you very likely have landed on the right messaging and you have product market fit. That's one. 2 is, I'd say you have a service that you're selling, which is at least like $5,000, maybe even better, $10,000 client lifetime value.
Yeah, okay.
The only one that I'd say that goes against that would be a software company that is fully funded, that is trying to build to sell to on a large exit, right? And they might be making 99 or 100 a month, and they might keep someone for a year or two, 2,200. But when they sell that company, they might be selling for 10 times profit. So that's worth more than 2,200 to them in the end. So they might be willing to have an LTV of like 2,500, but they'll pay 1,000 to acquire that customer, or 1,500. But if you're selling high ticket services like marketing agencies, you sell insurance, you're a private equity broker that gets like $100,000 every time you help a private equity business purchase a business. So that's second one. So first one was product market fit, high ticket service. And then 3 is you have a large total addressable market. Without this is not going to work, because cold email is a numbers game, as I'm sure you know, right? You might get 2 to 4% reply, which is good. And out of those replies, maybe 25 to 30% of them, around that, let's be conservative, are positive replies. So you need to send many emails to get these positive replies. And then every 3 or 4 positive replies, you might get a booked call.
Yeah.
And every booked call, maybe you close at between 10 and 30%. So you're sending thousands of emails before you close a client. But it's systematic, which means you build it once, and whether you're sending 100,000 emails or 50,000 emails, the workload difference is not that much. It's more so having a larger infrastructure to send it, and then having the ability to scrape more leads. So if you're selling to local businesses, like let's say you sell to like laundromats, roofing businesses, you can scrape Google Maps. Like I showed you a scraper for Google Maps, which is like virtually free using Serper, and you can scrape all your businesses using Google Maps, and then you can plug them into a database like Hunter, Apollo, to find either the owner's emails, or try to find a generic like info@ email, and then you can sell them that service. If you have a business that, like you target businesses that are present on LinkedIn, marketing agencies, software businesses, then you can scrape directly just from Apollo. You don't even need that Google Maps scraper. So yeah, just really depends, but large total addressable market, that once you find a winning copy, winning campaign, you can really scale it for months. You don't want to like send 5,000 emails for 3 months and then run out. Imagine you could send 20,000, 30,000 emails a month and send it for a full year. That's when you really get to squeeze the juice out of it.
Yeah, and also like the it's that you mentioned like the amount of it takes, because a lot of people when we say we just send emails, they don't know the volume it has to take to be able to convert one.
Yeah.
So still we're talking to the business owners. When do you think it makes sense for them to go on their own go on their own for now, or versus hiring an agency? Because you're talking about, you're not just really sending emails when you're talking about thousands. You got deliverability, finding the people you're going to contact, writing down the scripts, all of those moving parts. So
Yeah.
I guess let's tell the business owners out there, when should it make sense for them to
Yeah.
go on your own versus hiring an agency?
Yeah, I'd say at the beginning, if you're at a place where you don't have product market fit, or you can't pay as much for a customer acquisition cost, right? We are going to run a business, and you have to have a margin on top.
Yeah.
So by the time we do it for a business, they might get a cost per acquisition of a client between $1,000 to $2,000, but we manage everything for them. If their client LTV is like 10, 20,000, they'll be like, we'll happily pay you all day to acquire a customer at 2,000, and we don't want to touch it, even though you get a great margin off it.
Yep.
But if they, let's say, have an LTV of only 2,000, it doesn't make sense to pay 2,000 to us, because they're just going to break even.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean cold email doesn't work by paying an agency because of that markup. You could have someone in-house learn the skill and do it at cost. At cost, and pay for inboxes at cost. They pay for their lead list at cost. They pay for all their softwares at cost. And they just have one person on a salary running the system.
Yeah.
They might be now doing the exact same thing, but they're now acquiring a customer at $800 a month. It now makes sense. The only difference is that it's not an agency running it, it's someone in-house running it. And that's where it makes sense, where sometimes a client will come and they'll pay a lump sum,
Yeah.
or do a 3-month engagement where you just spoke about this. We do come in and they learn, how do we actually run this system? We build out the SOPs, we teach them how to do it, and then they pay a 3-month upfront, and then they start to make their money back over time because they're acquiring customers for much cheaper on their own. Another system could just be as well, they have product market fit, they have money to spend, they pay an agency at the beginning just to validate that cold email works. And they pay $2,000 to acquire a customer, or $1,000. Their LTV is 20K, and they're sending like 20,000 emails a month. But then now they're like, we want to send 100,000 emails a month. Now then it makes sense to bring it in-house again, because then they're still going to get it even cheaper at scale.
Yeah.
So I've also had clients who come in who pay to work with me at the beginning, validate that it works, and then pay me again to teach their in-house team to run it. So it really depends on where their business, how much product market fit they have, what their client lifetime value is, and if they're willing to just pay to gain back time and not deal with it and let an expert handle it.
And also the one thing that people realize, that when you say agency, it's not like a retainer. So like there's branches as well, there's different offers that agency could do for you. Because the only benefit is that instead of learning that themselves, why not to an expert already who has the data, who's done this before, and then, okay, if you can't afford the retainer, then just do it in-house. Buy your system, in short.
Yeah.
So like, that's the common misconception too, is that, okay, agency is expensive. Well, if it sense for you at that time, then just purchase the whole system, apply it in-house,
Yeah.
So that's also one of the things.
Yeah,
But
I mean, funny thing, like I was in Fun Holiday a couple of years ago, and I walked past a real estate agency, and it basically said on the front door, it was like, you think hiring an expert is expensive? Try hiring an amateur. Because you just, you spend a bit less, but you spend it for 6 months instead of 2 months. So you spend the same amount of time, you take more time,
Exactly.
and at the end it still doesn't work. So it just really, it depends. Of course, you can learn anything in yourself, right? Because we did the thing, we went and learned it ourselves as
Exactly.
well. And then we went and paid other people to consult us so that we would learn it faster. I mean, we would take so much longer if we just tried to learn everything ourselves.
Absolutely. I got an analogy on this. You could like boxing on YouTube versus like actually learning it from like a boxing coach, and then he can your angles and stuff. So that's one good point. But okay, now I wanted to jump into like the kind of the future of cold email and where this is going. But let's have a quick talk first, okay? So this is where the part I'm gonna say a category, and then you just choose between A or B.
All right, I'll try my best.
No explanation. All right.
I'll try.
Let's go for starting with like domains. Do you go with pork bun, spaceship, or GoDaddy?
Pork bun.
Pork bun. For inboxes, let's talk about Google. Do you prefer Google cheap inboxes or premium inboxes?
I'm gonna go with cheap inboxes.
Nice. What about Azure? Talking
run.
about Outlook.
Mail run.
Mail run
Microsoft
only.
Azure. Yeah. I would go for Microsoft 365. It's just that I'd rather have Microsoft Azure. It's cheaper.
Got it. Let's do SMTP.
I've only used MailReef. MailDoso I've used as well, but I go MailReef.
If you could only pick one tool for your lead list, what would it be?
Local businesses, Google Maps. Otherwise, Apollo. Apollo, people shit Apollo, but it's like Apollo. It's saturated. If you reach out to anyone of Apollo, they won't sell. It's like, no, like it's the same. It's a database.
Yeah.
You're selling the right thing to the right person. Do you have a great offer? I've scraped Apollo and had fantastic results with the right offer. And then when you have the wrong offer, it's crap.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It just depends on what you sell.
Yeah.
What about email validation tool?
Million verifier.
Catch all validation tool.
Instantly.
Instantly.
Yeah,
Interesting. Let's go with email sequencer.
Instantly. I bleed blue.
Instantly.
I bleed blue. Yeah.
What about contact enrichments?
Contact enrichment. I usually do a waterfall with a bunch. It's cheaper at scale. Like if you do like a Find Email, Lead Magic, Prospeo, ICPs waterfall. But if you only want to buy one and you have like on a low plan, just get better contact.
Better contacts.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do AI for writing email script. Who would you get help for?
I wouldn't. I sometimes to write my first script and then I have to edit it. I need to make it conversational and human.
And what AI would that be?
I just use GPT.
GPT.
Yeah.
GPT versus Claude?
Claude is probably better at copywriting,
Yeah.
but I just use GPT because
Same.
I just need a first draft.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. All right. So the updated tools should use right now.
What tools are you using? Same thing? Similar?
Pretty much. But all I use, I'm using Omni Verifier right now. It's
Okay.
pretty cheap. But same, Omni Million Verifier, I got their deal.
Yep.
It's pretty cheap. So, but let's jump to the future. Do you think cold email is going? So, this is a common misconception too. Answer this to me. Is cold email only for B2B?
Yes. B2B to C though, you could do that as well. B2B in the sense of they have to be defined as an individual that is defined as like a company type, job title, industry, country. They need to fit in that criteria. You couldn't say like someone who likes dogs and try to sell them a dog collar or dog products for their pet because you can't define that. It's hard to tell what someone's personal characteristics and likes and dislikes are through their job.
Yeah.
But you could know that if they work at an insurance company and they're a sales rep, you could sell something related to them and their job. Yeah. So at B2B only, the only time you can sell B2B to C is if you're trying to sell to a direct consumer at the end. Like let's say B2B to C, you'll scrape Twitter.
Yeah.
Because they have some word like fitness in them. But you scrape them B2B because you can scrape Twitter through B2B. Their database is like, I think it's called Tweepy. I don't remember what it's called anymore. It's been a while. And then you can sell them direct to the consumer a physical product, like something fitness-wise. But you got their email for Twitter.
Okay, got it. So now, with all of the changes happening with cold email, would you say cold email is getting saturated?
I wouldn't say it's getting saturated. I just say it's changing. It used to be you have to set up all your inboxes manually.
Yeah.
And therefore people didn't send as many emails. And you would not have to send as many emails to get replies. Now, it's much easier to set up inboxes at scale and also scrape lead lists at scale. Therefore, people can send more emails. But the amount of work that it takes is pretty similar. We're just doing it at a larger scale now, but it's gotten cheaper. So people think like it's mind-boggling, like you're sending 30,000 emails a month for a client. Like I used to only have to send 1,000. Yeah, it takes the same amount of work. It's just a larger number, but it's these softwares like aggregate everything into one place. It doesn't feel like you're managing 200 inboxes. You just have 200 inboxes connected, but you're managing one thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just changing, not dead.
Absolutely. And I completely agree with that. And would you say with recent changes, things like Apollo scrapers breaking down, say that's a sign as well that the barrier to entry of with all of the things being easier, it's kind of getting or for them to entry. But now we've seen changes and crackdowns and breakdowns with like different tools. Would you say as well that it's also kind of a sign that it's getting technical and more hard now to operate?
Yeah, certainly. It's getting much more technical. From when I was running it like 3 years ago to get leads for real estate, it's a different beast now, right? You like Clay was around, but not properly around in the way that it is now. The capabilities of what you can run now to make campaigns work, you're connecting so many tools. Like tech stack, it's like 15 tools. Like, you really need to be deep in the space to make it work. With Apollo scrapers, it was always a gangster service. So like the fact that it's going down is like no surprise, but it's just getting a bit more expensive, right? You can still have access to Apollo, you just pay for it. Or you can build like a Apollo wrapper inside N8N to just find people. So you can find a bunch of people for really like on their $99 a month plan. And then you can still use the waterfall sequence, like use their LinkedIn URL to run it through like ICPs, Prospeo, Lead Magic to find the email. Yeah, I'd say it's still dirt cheap. Like even when we run really complicated flows at cost, we can sometimes even get like the whole row done for like 0.06 cents, 0.08 with like Claygen customization, email validation, with catch-alls and million verifier and a waterfall, like run through the whole thing.
And this is all powered by Clay. Now, let's talk a little bit more about Clay, because I've seen that it could be, I would say it's overhyped on some side, but where do you really see the value in it? Or where, if we were speaking to the audience, who, if they were X, you could use Clay,
Yeah, I'd say Clay is fantastic if you are a technical person, but the people you hire are not as technical as you. Because what you're able to do is build a streamlined process that works, that can be troubleshooted, and it can be passed on to someone who can operate it by just clicking a few buttons. It's very visually pleasing, that it's easy for someone to understand. It connects APIs if you're on the $349 a month plan.
Yeah.
And I'd say if you're building something that you're running hundreds of thousands of rows on a monthly basis, you can put into N8N, self-host it, no execution cost. But for testing things really quickly and training people, like now I'm trying to hire a team. The biggest thing for me is I need to make it simple to understand, because simple scales. Anything
Absolutely.
complex is going to just break down.
Absolutely.
If I can build Clay workflows per client that I know work, and I can pass them on to a team and I know that they can fulfill it, if I have to pay a bit more cost, that just does not mean anything to me. I want peace of mind, and I want to know that I'm going to get consistent results for my clients.
Absolutely, that makes sense. And now even there is a whole new generation or wave right now that's becoming, because I'm part of the Clay Club Manila. Are you part of Clay Club Bangkok?
They started one. I went to one event, but I don't know if it's been like 2-3 months. They haven't run another event since. But
Yeah, but with the whole Clay thing, there's even a new generation of jobs getting for like Clay GTM engineers and shit.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on that though?
Honestly, it reminds me a lot, because like I started in dropshipping in 2017.
Yeah.
It reminds me a lot of media buyers. Media buyers didn't exist before. There was like some Google PPC, but like when Facebook first came out, media buyers became a thing. And then now with Clay, it's like a GTM engineers is becoming a thing. I think it's great for people who want to, let's say, get a full-time job and earn like $3,000 to $4,000 a month. I think it's a skill you can pick up quickly. It's in demand, because I think it's more scary and technical from the outside, but once you start to understand it, like APIs used to be something like, whoa, this is too crazy. But once you understand them, like they're very straightforward, right? They're just like connecting one tool to another through a key.
Yeah, exactly.
And in Clay, it makes it very easy once you connect that key, how to actually operate it with a nice user interface. A lot of companies, especially like larger enterprise companies, or even very small to mid-sized companies who have lifetime values of 20K, if they can have someone that can get them new lead flow in a new channel that they're not utilizing yet, current SDRs are like still ringing people, still sending one email at a time,
Yep.
sending one LinkedIn request at a time. You have like 10 SDRs in a team. That could literally provide lead flow for all 10 people.
Yeah.
And those 10 people, they just dial like people who responded positively. So you to say like get paid $4,000 a month, it's such an easy sell for businesses. That's why like the retainers that we sign with clients range from like 3K all the way to 10K per month. And it's a no-brainer because the leverage that one person has with the amount of tools that you can use with the help of AI is now doing the work previously of like 10, 20 people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I completely agree with that. And that's one market that if you're starting out, you have a specific niche that you wanted to go after, try becoming a GTM engineer. It's I would say the demand is much higher than the supply of who can actually execute.
100%.
Because yeah, you can know Clay, but okay, I got a funny question though. If they're starting out from scratch, but how would they start to learn Clay though without paying for the $349?
It's a very chicken and egg situation, right? Because the biggest problem with Clay is people will go in and within the first day they'll burn all their credits, because it's like Clay has a lot of conditional formulas. Well, it makes sense if you've like actually used the software, but like if you click the wrong, you click execute, people can't really spot where to stop it, and it will run through all your credits and it will burn like hundreds of dollars in like seconds. And especially if you're starting out, you can't have that. I know they do a lot of free trials. You can play around with it, but like what really allows you to learn how to use Clay is by using it on a daily basis. Chicken and egg situation. Honestly, I would understand first like how to just set up accounts. Understanding like what is the difference between vanilla accounts, reseller accounts for like the email infrastructure. So like the 3 pillars of cold emails is like email infrastructure. What are you using to actually send emails? Pillar 2 is you're like building your list. What are you actually building? Who are you reaching out to? Who are these people? And then 3 is the copywriting, which is like what are you actually saying to them once you reach out to them? So you could sort of like master the account setup to maximize deliverability, understand like how many domains, how many inboxes you need, warm-up settings, and then maybe like understanding the separation of IPs, copy, understanding like how to write angles, how to write scripts, and then you'll be good enough to at least run that in a company, and then say that you want to learn Clay. Start slowly. I think that's like the best way to get your foot in the door. Watch enough YouTube videos, make many free trials, and just like make mistakes. You're gonna only get so far with that, but at least it's to get on a call with a client and be like, I know how to run conditional formulas, I know how to connect an API key, I know how to use ClayGent.
Even on this topic, we're actually just coming back to the same principle we spoke about earlier. It's just to put in the repetitions first and try to be competent enough where you're actually worth paying for as an individual. You're competent enough. Now, Spencer, a lot of things are changing in the cold email. I wanted to touch base with you on where do you see this coming about a year from now?
Very difficult to say, because like Google and Microsoft's algorithms are not transparent to us. We don't know what lands in inbox and spam unless we have access to the prospects inbox.
Prospects, yep.
So I don't try to look as far 1 year ahead. I just want to understand like what's going to happen next and what's happening now. Right now, if my client has a total addressable market large enough, I'm only reaching out to Google only. So like the email infrastructure that I use can be diversified. I'll have Google, Microsoft 365, Microsoft Azure, custom SMTP. I'm talking about the prospect's email service provider. Their email service provider, I only want to reach out to Google only right now, because that's where we're getting the best results. Compared to Outlook, we're getting 10% replies from Outlook compared to Google. Like if anyone is landing in Outlook, like and they're claiming to, they're probably lying. But if they are, ask to see their inside the campaigns inside of Instantly, Smartly, or Bison or whatever they use, to actually see the proof of it. Like if they're landing, fantastic, learn from them. But like all the people that I'm speaking to who are like way more experienced than me in the space are seeing the same thing.
Same.
And yeah, just maximize your total addressable market in Google. And once you run out of them, if you want to re-hit them again every 3-4 months, and then you've completely run out, then try to figure out the Outlook thing, right? It's hard if you're only selling to enterprise, because the majority of enterprise are using just Outlook, and then they'll have like corporate spam filters like Barracuda, Cisco, Proofpoint, Mimecast. Like Cisco, for one of my client campaigns, was bouncing at 45%.
Damn.
That's the craziest thing, right? Like you go into your leads and then you look at the results.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you see like a bounce rate of like 6%. And you're like, whoa, they automatically stopped. And you start to dig deeper. Why is it happening?
Yeah.
And you see like Cisco's bouncing at 45%. I'm like, okay, delete all Cisco leads. Delete Outlook, delete Barracuda. We've kept Mimecast, and we've kept, but yeah, at least ESGs are performing better than Outlook even. Outlook's even harder to land in.
Even right now, bro. I do the same. And the one thing here too, I want to mention that we're speaking here. It's November of 2025 because a lot of are changing from month to month. So if you're watching this in January already, it might not even be updated. You gotta watch our latest videos with Spencer and I. So, but Spencer, we're in July. We might meet next year. So I want to create a friendly challenge. So you're at 15K. I'm about 12 to 15.
Yep.
We're gonna be meeting next year.
Yep.
Where, what revenue will you be at
and
next year?
When are we meeting?
In the event, you know?
In a whole year?
Yeah, like the event.
Okay, in a whole year, I'd like to be at a minimum of 50,000 in revenue in a year. I think, I'd say in the next 6 months, I want to hit 30K in revenue.
Yeah.
I think very realistic. I think I want to actually hit 30K in profit. Because right now it's like about 15K in profit. But that's because I'm a one-man show. But I want to be, 30K in profit, maybe with a team of 1 or 2 people in the next 6 months. And then in a year, maybe 50K. Hopefully that's the main goal.
Absolutely. I'll be at 30K next year.
50?
I'll reach with 30 next year. But I'll meet with you next year, 30K, 30K.
Before, not another whole year.
Of course. But Spencer, how can people find you? How can they reach you? Please tell us about your website services.
Yeah. So my business is called Accelerate B2B. And that's just the B with the letter, the number 2, accelerate-b2b.com. Also on YouTube, starting up now. I think I have one video, Spencer Hirst.
Spencer Hirst.
Yeah.
I'll link down Spencer's channel below. But Spencer, appreciate you coming on, brother.
Pleasure, man.
Thank you so much for watching. Peace.